Hello, welcome
Sundays.
back. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, we're here with the Battle of the Tornadics. How are you doing, my co-host Goose?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Uh, we've been making these fellas wait for a while because Nate is a liar about what the start time for the game is, and Nate also is making an interesting decision by bringing a Terrastellar Pokemon.
Do you think that this is just mind games, or will we actually see Comfey Terrastellar?
You know what my opinion is? That Nate thought that said Steel because they start with the same three letters. I'm going to ask him.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Terrastellar draining Kiss with that up three priority against a Terra Pokemon that's actually going to do some amount of damage and heal up that Comfey.
Yes, but also Terra Fairy would do the same thing. Except even better, because it would not only be on one move. I don't know what he's thinking. I need to focus on something else. Joe's got a pretty wild and wacky team. He's got Tornadus who can set sand. He's got Tyranitar who can set sand. Excadrill benefits a lot from that. He's got good Earthquake for Sakataka. He's got X Scissor for Brute Bonnet. He's got Iron Head for Comfy. It's got a lot of good coverage options. Poison Jab. Uh, I'm curious what I bet Gastrodon was for Walking Wake, who did not show up. Maybe Nate didn't even bother because he was like, "Oh, Walking Gastrodon's on that team. I don't care."
We could see Gastrodon as being almost a stack attack counter. Like he wants something to go into that that's very slow. Both of these teams are very comfortable going in Tailwind or in Trick Room.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nate did bring the inferior Tornadus, which doesn't get Prankster. So if we see like Prankster Tailwind from Kokusho and then triple Axle onto the Tornadus, that could just be a kill before he could even set anything up. But I imagine that Nate wants to. Actually, it's really tough. If I'm Nate, I don't even know if I want to set Trick Room because Joe's got Big Zong on the field, and that guy's going to be a problem in Trick Room.
Yeah, that's going to wall stack attacker real nicely.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what leads will be. I feel like if I'm Nate, I just pick Comfy and some annoying thing. I don't know what Meowstic does. I think Meowstic is kind of, I don't know. It's out prankstered by Tornadus. It can't Thunderwave Excadrill. It can't hit Tyranitar with anything really. So I'd be surprised if we see that coming to many games, unless it's doing some crazy like swagger mirror herbs strat on Stack Attacka. I don't know. The world's your oyster.
Well, speaking of oysters, I'd love to slurp down this delicious battle. Do you want to let these guys get started?
Yeah, let's let him start. Hello, who's joining my tender little call? All right, we got some spectators. I probably should have said that on call, but whatever. Okay, this is the most basic lead that you could have expected from Joe. I'm shocked once again to see Malistick. I think he gets fake out. So if you're Joe, you might want to go for a cheeky little double protect. But if you go for a cheeky little double protect, Stack Attacka with its Trick Room option could just get Trick Room set up and you get Shimoned on. It's also really hard to predict what Meowstic's going to do. It gets other options. Obviously, it can't
I
do
would love
anything
to
with
see
Automaton
Thunderwave
Energy.
here. Thunderwave into Tyranitar. That'd be
Thunderwave
nice.
Tyranitar would be really funny. I would make fun of Nate for it, but I don't think he'll do that. I mean, obviously, Meowstic's in a bad way right now, and so is Stack Attacka. Let me check the Terra type.
It gets screens. I could set reflect, light screen, something here.
I could set that. It is Terra Water, so it doesn't get the like Terra Flying immunity that you often see with Stack Attacka, but it won't die to an Earthquake like it normally would. I guess you'd probably be running high horsepower over Earthquake in this situation, so you don't kill your own Tyranitar. But
Now, I know for a long time you were a big proponent of why did Kokusho not have Excadrill? He finally has Excadrill. What are your thoughts, Goose?
I think that it made so much sense for this guy to be on the team. He's so much better than Iron Boulder because he doesn't need booster energy to be so fast. I know his um the rest of his stats aren't as good as Boulder's, but Ground Steel is a way better offensive type than Rock Psychic is. He gets the speed alongside Tyranitar. I know Boulder's more self-sufficient, but I like Excadrill. I think if I'm Joe, I just hit the most obvious knockoff in the Meowstic and high horsepower in the Stack Attacker ever, and I'm just prepared to deal with the consequences. Yeah, I mean, there's the knockoff. Okay, I mean, Joe played that turn better than I would have because he didn't even have to deal with the body press.
Ooh,
This is actually a
well,
really, really bad situation for Nate to be in. He's got Stack Attacker outside of Trick Room, and Comfy is on the field and dies to Iron Head. It's hard out here.
and it is difficult because he cannot Terra Stellar this Comfey. It's going to be tough.
If he cannot get the one-time boost on Giga Drain, he might just lose this game. Joe is in a bad way because both of his Pokemon are weak to the massive body press. You know, if I might just want to see a Terra Ghost on Tyranitar, and then you hit the Iron Head on the Comfy, I don't know, knockoff on Sakataka. I mean, these physical attacking leads can't really do much to Stack, but you have to get rid of Comfy fast, or it'll just start floral healing forever and ever and ever, and you'll never kill the Sakataka, who is named Ass High and Lamore.
This is an odd position for Kokusho to be in. He might lose one of his two leads here, but he could definitely take Comfey down with him. I don't think doubling up into Stakataka is the right call. I don't think he'll
I
make through that physical wall.
I don't think so either. I'd love to see Iron Head coming out on Comfy. It's really interesting though. Terra Water is pretty dang good into Joe's team. He doesn't have I don't think a single one of his Pokemon gets electric or grass coverage, so they're just gonna have to be going for neutral hits all the way through. Maybe Gastrodon gets Grass Knot. I
I
can't
think
speak to that.
Gastrodon gets Grass Knot and maybe Energy Ball.
Okay, yeah. So maybe it's running one of those.
Oh, we see the interesting double up into Stakataka, only bringing it down to 40% with that Citrus Berry. This leaves
Yeah,
room for Comfey to heal this thing right up, and Bob's your
I
uncle.
think this is exactly the type of situation that you wanted to avoid if you're Kokusho. You did damage to Stakataka, but that damage is, let's be honest, it's useless because four healing is just going to come out on this turn. You're going to get Big Zong coming out. Okay, he is going to body press the Tyranitar, who lives, which is crazy. This Tyranitar cannot hit this Comfy to save his life. He needs glasses. It is getting really tragic out here.
I would love to see the that is a 4x weakness from Tyranitar. I'd love to see the calc to see did he put stats into defenses there to live that body press.
I would not be surprised if he predicted Stack Attacker to be 252 HP, 252 attacker defense based on that. I mean, that's doing no damage. Iron defense is up. Bronzong has now commandeered Trick Room. You're you really don't want to see this if you're Nate. You've you've kind of let Zong get into his element. He's gonna start iron defensing. His body press is gonna be bigger than yours once he gets enough of them going. I am kind of worried about poor Gastrodon. Comfy gets like 4 moves and Giga Drain is one of them. It looks like he's not running it, or I think he probably would have clicked it. Another iron defense, acid armor. Oh no! Joe is gonna murder this poor guy. Unless he's running exactly Giga Drain on Gastrodon, I don't think he's breaking either of these Pokemon. Giga Drain on Comfy to kill Gastrodon. I don't think he's breaking either of these two Pokemon, Chris. Stack Attacker cannot do it.
We see the Draining Kiss. We do not see the Giga Drain. If he had it, he would have used it. We have seen. I wonder what Nate has in the back here.
We actually see a really, really tragic situation. Nate, Nate recognizes that he has no good options and is just playing for Rockside Flinches and gets both. 81% chance to hit both of them, a 9% chance to flinch both of them, or something like that. Yeah, 9 out of 100. And he hits both because of course he does. Floral healing is going back up. Gastrodon's recovering. Stack Attack will never kill these Pokemon in a million years. Set Trickery back up. It does not matter. It's it's I think Joe, if he wants to make any progress at all, he has to hit Comfy because Nate's
I
just
think
gonna
he
keep
just
healing
keeps
it.
clicking iron defense and acid armor,
Yeah.
and he's living forever. This Dakataka is not killing these things, and eventually this Bronzong will get big enough that it can hit this thing for meaningful damage alongside that Gastrodon.
I would like to see if I'm Joe, Stakataka has now entered the realm of the useless Pokemon. He will never kill Gastrodon. He will never kill Bronzong. He can't do anything. You just got to get him out of there.
All right, we do see the final Pokemon on the side is the Brute Bonnet, and it's gone.
Brute Bonnet. We saw Brute Bonnet. We did not see Brute Bonnet. Despite Nate hitting all these Rock Slide flinches, Joe has entered, I think, a position that's unlosable. Nate would have to crit him with Rock Slide a million times, get a million flinches. He would have had to been running Giga Drain on Gastrodon, and even if he was Giga Drain on Comfy for Gastrodon, and even if he was doing that, I don't think Bronzong was killable. It's really tragic.
We're seeing an interesting situation where he still has the two Pokemon. They're not healthy, but there's still two in the back to set up that sand if he needs the extra special defense for Bronzong, or bring in the Excadrill after Trick Room ends and just go fast.
Now, I just don't think Nate was ready for this body press set that Bronzong is taking. Iron defense was a really clever option. You see a lot of body press iron defense for Bronzong. He doesn't do a lot of damage unless he's boosting. But acid armor is really niche tech. I kind of love it. He's getting I mean, it just completely walls most of Nate's team. If I'm Nate, I'm looking at my guys and I'm wondering how I even beat this because his only two special attackers he brought this week that okay, Humpy and Meowstic are barely special attackers. They're special attackers in name alone. They're not doing any damage. Tornadus, not great either. All three of those Pokemon can't do any damage to Bronzong. So
Uh,
you have to stop him with Brute Bonnet before he gets set up, and that's really hard to do.
we have the, dark horse here, the Okie dokie that never before seen tech. Will it come out? Will it use Toxic Chain, poison this Gastrodon possibly,
It
somehow
could
break
poison
through?
the Gastrodon. Unfortunately, it could not. It can't poison Bronzong.
No, one of the two ain't bad. Do
One
we
of the
see?
two
I
ain't
think we
bad.
see the Tornadus here, knowing that he's going so physically defensive, and I think Joe predicts that and switches this up. It's very hard to bring that Tornadus in the face of Tyranitar and Excadrill, knowing that they have Rock Slides very fast, or the Hitmontop there to fake out. This is a very difficult position for Nate.
I am thrilled by these sets. In Dynamax, God rest its soul, you cannot afford to start boosting. If you started trying to like set up an iron defense or a sword stance, uh, weakness policy colossal would just kill you immediately. And now that Pokemon just aren't designed around getting really strong and one-shotting everything that isn't also Dynamax, you're starting to see a lot of these more stall-based strategies show back up, and they're unique, they're interesting. It's brought some like well-needed diversity to this league, which I think mostly in the past has prioritized hyper offense, and I love it. We're seeing the Excadrill Tyranitar lead again from Joe. Why fix what isn't broken? Chris, give me your thoughts on Okie Dogie.
Put him in the trash. Goodbye.
He's pretty bad. He does have a really good matchup into these two Pokemon specifically. I mean, obviously he's weak to ground, but he's got some pretty decent bulk. I don't know if he'll live at high horsepower, but he's got some decent bulk. And
He's not fast. He's not strong. I don't know what he does. Nothing special.
he could drain punch Tyranitar for. I think it probably wouldn't kill him, but it might get close.
I think we
It might
see
kill him.
maybe a high horsepower here straight into Gregor. Maybe a rock slide on this bird. And once again, Joe has slipped up. No nicknames. How could he?
Do you think Gregor is a reference to famous Heat Ran Greg.
One can only hope.
One can only hope. I like how all of his names are. I believe they're Game of Thrones references, except for Bird, the Tornadus. He was really putting
Is Ass
his
High
right
somehow a Game
foot.
of Thrones reference I'm missing? Is
I
that a
assume.
berry?
I
Which one?
truly have no idea. As high? Yeah, Joe is thinking his little head off. I think, yeah, we're gonna see the Terra Ghost. He had Berry. Oh my goodness. You know how earlier I said that he's pretty bulky, he might live a high horsepower? I was so wrong. Never listen to me again. That guy would have taken 180% from high horsepower. Tyranitar
That
cannot
Drain
hit a rock
Punch
slide to save his
actually
life.
very effective. All right, looks like I'm eating my words. Okie dokie is really putting it up.
Okie dokie needed a specialized berry to survive one move. It's actually a. I'm trying to think. Obviously, Bronzong gets levitate and heat proof. I don't know if Joe opted for heat proof or levitate. I don't think Nate has a lot of ground options actually, so I wouldn't be surprised to see heat proof. But I
I
mean,
would
Gregor
expect
Okidogi gets
Levitate
knockoff.
facing Stakataka, knowing that could just Earthquake into the Excadrill in the Tyranitar.
That's true. Levitate's levitate does cover the ground weakness really well.
Levitate also allows you to Earthquake without hitting it against the Stakataka.
I have a question. Do you think Nate is not carrying knockoff on Okidogi? He went for poison jab, which Okidogi does not get very many moves. He gets knockoff is one of the moves that he does get, but he swung the not the resisted poison jab into Tyranitar. We
Ooh,
may
see, the
never
Rock
find
Slide
out because he
flinches.
flinched.
Yes, what are Okidogi's last two moves? We will never know.
We may never know. I I honestly think that we will never know.
Or we could just ask them in the post-match interview.
I refuse. I'd love to ponder. I mean,
You're
you
gonna say
have to
protect is one.
protect is probably one, and it's gotta be
Upper hand.
knockoff, right? Upper hand, yeah, sure. Um, if you are Nate, you have to Terra, stack attack, or protect it. Mr. Zong is coming in with the fattest body press of all time if you don't. But even if you Terra him, how do you get through Bronzong? I don't think he's got a way out. You're really relying on Tornadus. Yeah, Gyro Ball doesn't even kill. You had to Terra. You're going to see the Rock Slide to finish off Okidogi. One final hurrah from Tyranitar. But it's
What else
so
do we
bad.
have? Is it Brook Bonnet again? Meowstic? Meowstic doesn't do much here. It is Meowstic. Hmm.
I mean, Meowstic gets Encore, so you might not be able to just boost indefinitely with Ronzong. But even if you don't keep boosting, Bronzong's hit is two defense, like two times defense. He'll beat this Stack Attacka eventually.
Could have been carrying that Thunderwave tech. Paralyze that Bronzong. You have time to chip it away.
I love Thunder Wave. You're just going for the fake out.
Get the kill onto Tyranitar, you know. Play to your outs.
Play to your outs. Good kill on Tyranitar. We are going to see the Beast Boost defense to help with the Bronzong to some degree. I wonder if this Meowstic is carrying Encore. I'm pretty sure it gets the move. I don't know for certain, but I'm going to check right now.
I'm fairly certain it also gets Shadow Ball. It could go trying to hit Bronzong super effective here.
It does not get Encore. So
Oh,
setting
The
up Iron
Leer.
Defense is totally safe.
we have seen the
Leer.
Leer tech lowering those defenses Joe's worked so hard to put up. And now we are in a situation of 2v1.
I mean, this is a 3v1. I don't know. Legitimately, I don't know how Nate gets through Bronzong. We've seen the stat. He's got Gyro Ball, Body Press, Trick Room, Protect, I believe. He has Leer to stop the defense from like going up to 4x. But Nate can't boost his body presses anymore. He's stuck at body press only being at 2 times defense. And Joe can ensure that he stays at 3.5x defense if he'd like. He's got leftovers. I mean, Meowstic has shown that it can't do anything offensively. I think at this point you start alternating. You do body press, iron defense, body press, iron defense, and eventually you will take out the stack attacker. It's
Yes, this is just going to be a slow, painful death for the Stack Attack. It will just be whether or not this Meowstic has any attacking moves to support the Stack Attack in killing this Bronzong.
you're Nate. I don't even think you want to put Trick Room back up. Tornadus is your last Pokemon. I don't know if he's got a move that can hit Bronzong very well. Tornadus does carry Heat Wave often, but
I honestly, I am kind of surprised there is nothing on this other than the Fake Out and the Leer that he finds useful. Like just bringing the defense down one stage. He's going to put it back up. He's going to body press. Probably saved him from dying there. And we see the alluring voice. Ooh, if he had had Trick Room up there, he would have confused Bronzong. Alluring voice is a very rarely seen move, but will confuse if the user or if the target has a stat increase that turn.
I'm really curious what Joe was thinking about iron defensing right there. You allowed
It lets him
you
hit
allowed
that
Bronzong to
one
take
stage
another
higher,
hit.
right?
You let him hit one stage higher, but you did let Stack attack you one more time. I mean, we really need to see a move that's from Tornadus that isn't Focus Blast. I mean, he's gonna beat Meowstic unless Tornadus hits a move. Nate has one final chance to hit Bronzong with any move, and I think Joe loses. But if he misses one more time, it's it, it's Joe's game to win.
I'm expecting the fourth move on Bronzong is Trick Room, which means no Protect here to get himself another tick of leftovers.
Nate has to hit one move, and everything else is irrelevant. I think he might only be carrying Focus Blast, which is crazy. It's crazy to only run Focus Blast when so many um options are a little less accurate or less inaccurate. Yes, there it is. This is
Oh,
this
that
is just
is
evident. Never run Focus Blast. Never run Focus Blast ever.
Oh, he's given himself a chance here.
He's given himself one more turn. Dinna the Meowstic can't he can't hit him. I mean, he's chipping him away like 2% at a time, but Bronzong needs to. he's gaining most of the health back every turn. Oh dear,
Oh, yeah,
it's
the writing
over.
is all but on the wall. If we had seen a crit, maybe two crits in a row, this would have gone the other way. Or any of those Focus Blasts hitting. Bronzong truly is the hero of this match.
Bronzong did it. Congratulations to Bronzong.
I did get his ass high reference.
It was Zora, Zora's as high or whatever it is, the chosen one, the
Yeah.
prince who's promised. Joe, I gotta say, Joe, you and I play random doubles all the time. Many Pokemon there are fated to run Focus Blast. When you saw that his only attacking move was Focus Blast, how confident were you feeling?
I was feeling pretty good.
It was not my only.
What was the
attacking
other
move.
one?
The other was Bleakwood Storm, which is 80. It's stab, but it resists. In hindsight, it's probably better.
I think you
I
had to
don't know.
go for the focus
I think
blast.
you had to go
I,
for focus
you know,
blast.
I've put
Missing
myself in this same
2.
position. You take the 70%, you raw dog it, you hope to hit.
It's not even a 70%. It was a 91. He just had to hit one of the two.
Yeah, that's
And
fun.
then poor Meowstic would have been able to handle it.
Now, I think all of our viewers at home are deeply wondering, Terrastellar, Comfey,
Yeah,
was your
dude.
thoughts?
I thought it did a completely different interaction, and then Rami was talking to me, and he's like, "Hey, what's Stellar do?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it makes you resist the first one."
No, that's Terapagos's ability, not
Well,
Terrastellar.
what's really funny is that's the only thing I've seen it on. So, um, yeah, that wasn't wasn't it. Um, anyone listening to this replay, I just please don't look at my team and how everything's physical. If we could just stop watching replays where everyone just keeps like iron defensing and acid armoring and then I lose, if we could just not do that, that'd be great.
So I actually thought Terrastellar on Comfy might be for a stab Giga Drain onto Gastrodon to OHKO it. Did you like consider running Giga Drain for Gastrodon this week?
No, I think I've run it once and it was like fine. The problem is like I just kind of prefer like Floral Healing has to come, Trick Room probably has to come. Ally Switch is super nice, just the stack and like comfy like synergy. So Ally Switch is super nice, and then I need a move, so it's probably Draining Kiss. So
Do you feel like you sacrificed part of your soul to run Big Stall in the league?
This is very different than all the strategies I ran last season, which were very much hyper offensive. It was fun to really grind these games out.
but it was.
I love playing stall strategies. I'm sure that you were feeling mad with power when you were alternating body press and iron defense to beat stack attack as Meowstic desperately tried to lure you down.
Man, I was clinching for the crit, like like any second it could just all be over.
Fortunately, I believe Nate used all of the luck he had that game to crit your Gastrodon because you didn't get very much after that.
Because I didn't get a focus blast hit.
I was getting a little worried when you double flitched Joe with Rock Slide.
I didn't realize that they were both gonna resist. I was like, oh dang, I did like 2% damage, but I got a couple flinches, so that's cool.
You bought yourself a free turn. That was kind of
Yeah.
exciting. If you were to, I'm curious, if you were to know that Joe's bringing Bronzong with all these stacking potential, what would you have done differently to stop it? Do you think you'd have gone for like Spore on Brute Bonnet, like Heat Wave on Tornadus? What would your answer
Mm.
be? Because it seems really hard for your team, which is very physically defensive, to overcome. I mean, very physically offensive.
Yeah, I need to find a way to get like Walking Wake, like really like pushing in the right direction. Not I don't think Walking Wake has like a single like good spread move. I guess Surf is there, but that's not gonna be great. Yeah, I need to find a way to have my special attackers be a little better. Is the biggest thing.
Okay. I know Walking Wake would have struggled specifically because of Gastrodon.
Yeah, that's why I didn't come.
Surfing your own guy always feels bad. It's a shame it doesn't get muddy water.
Yeah.
What can you do? Joe, do you have anything that you were like worried about from Nate's team, or did you think Bronzong had it if you set Trick Room? Because that seemed to be your plan.
Yeah, well, all week I was really struggling to figure out how I was going to overcome this stack attacker. He's just such a monster when it comes to his stats. You know, he has this crazy high defense stat, and you think you should be able to take him out with special, but then his special defense is randomly like 100 plus or something. He's just a monster. And with my team being relatively physical oriented, I was just struggling. And yeah, I'm glad Bronzong was able to out defense the defense monster.
Okay.
I wish I would have looked at freaking Alluring Voice a lot earlier. I kind of forgot that it did the whole like confusion thing. That could have really messed with you.
Yeah, if you'd caught him on an iron defense turn
Yeah,
when he was doing the like Lear iron defense, you
yeah.
could have confused him.
I was playing way too quick. I was just kind of like I was pretty nervous and just wanted to. Honestly, I kind of just wanted something to die so that um, Tornadus would come in and hit a focus blast and win me the game. But you know,
Yeah, I
here
think
we
that
are after game 2.
I think that's a reasonable plan. I mean, obviously, you could have confused Joe and given him even less outs, but I'm sure that you did not think that you'd miss both.
No.
Actually, wanted to commend you. I think you did a really good job in some of those situations, making good calls to play to outs, to create situations for yourself to win.
Thanks, man. Joe's got a really good team. I feel like I have a very, very strong team and need to find some better ways to run it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
cool. I feel like I'm pretty offensive with some bulky mon, and like I'm not doing a good job messing with like stat stuff unless it's like me boosting my own stuff, like beast boost and stuff. Like seems like meta's changing in here. I don't like it.
It is we were talking about this at the beginning, but because Dynamax isn't around anymore and Pokemon generally have more time to do things than they used to, you can be like a lot trickier with your EV spreads and like run stuff like palm mines or iron defenses or coaching, and you're not punished by a max Charizard melting your guy immediately. Like you've got more turns to work with. So it does seem like the meta is shifting to be a lot more slow, for better or for worse.
Yeah, no more time for Dynamax Colossal to take a small amount of chip from water and then actually run away with things.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Colossal's viability. But I guess we're good to wrap things up, unless one of
Thank
you
you so
has
much.
anything that you want to say.
Join us next time on
Good
Splash
job, Joe.
Radio.
Signing off. Goose, Chris.